this is just my thoughts. You know that.
We're going to wing it.
All right.
The 25th of July, 2023. And today we have a wonderful special guest and a good friend. Her name is Laverne Jones-Gore, excuse me. And we're going to talk about some general things. One program that she has in mind she would like to, and she's going to introduce or would like to introduce in the city of Cleveland and possibly throughout the state of Ohio. But before we do that, I have a couple special announcements I would like to share with the listeners today. There's a local artist and actress by the name of Carla Macon, and she appeared in a movie titled Swing Low, Sweet Chariot on the Tubi network. The entire movie was filmed in the greater Cleveland area. It's basically, I don't call it a biography, but it's a story about Cleveland during a certain time frame. I highly recommend the movie to everybody. Again, the name of the movie is Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and a local actress. She's done plays and other small parts at Caramel and some other small movies. And not only is she an excellent actress, she's a very smart, beautiful young lady. Again, the name of the movie is Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, starring Carla Macon on the Tubi network. Please tune in and watch it. The movie lasts about an hour and 20 minutes, give or take, and it's a very enjoyable movie. The other thing, and as you know, I do Black History 365 days a year, and today is a special birthday of a young man that some of you might be familiar with. He would have been 92 years old today, and his name is Emmett Till. And out of all due respect to President Biden, he just designated 2 national sites, actually 3, for the Till family. One to Emmett in Mississippi, where he was killed unceremoniously by some jealous people who thought he whistled at a white woman, and to his mother in Chicago. That's where the other site is going to be, because if most of you know the Emmett Till story, and she decided to have an open casket ceremony so that the world could see what had happened to her son in Mississippi. And depending on who you read or when you read, they give Mrs. Till credit for the kickoff to the civil rights movement, just based upon what she decided to do. So in your prayer, say, Heavenly Happy Birthday, 92nd birthday to Emmett Till. So let's go right to our guest. And again, with her permission prior to the show, she said I could call her Laverne.
Yes.
Good morning, Laverne.
How are you?
I'm fine. So and I said it's a special announcement because I think it is. You know, we talked about this maybe about 3 weeks ago. You mentioned it to me. And I said it's a great idea. So share with the audience what your concept is. What are you proposing to do?
You know, I think that the country, the United States of America, is in a very interesting place right now. We don't have plumbers, we don't have electricians, we don't have shoe fixers, we don't have a lot of things that our infrastructure requires. And guess what we're not doing? We're not training our children to respect or accept those as lucrative careers.
Correct.
You know, I was just looking in here. When you look at the scale of who we are, Ohio, but we don't even want to break that down to the Cleveland Public Schools. We're 36th in the nation, and this is a poll that was done by the Public School Rankings by State, National Institute of Education. We're 36, right? Exactly what does that mean that we're 36?
Yeah, what is
when
it?
If everybody's failing, being 36 in the line of failing, because we all know the public school systems are in trouble. Unfortunately or fortunately, most of our children go to the public school systems. And it doesn't matter. People are going to yell at me. And yes, my children did go to private school. Okay, I agree with that, but I went to public school.
And please share with the audience.
I went to public
Go
school.
to public school.
I graduated from John Adams High School.
A running rebel.
A running rebel. But more importantly, when I graduated from high school, I got a full scholarship to college, one of the Claremont colleges. And let me tell you, I didn't get to Claremont and have to take a 13th year. I got to Claremont College and I competed. I have 2 master's degrees now, and I have a bachelor's in economics and social administration, social behavior. What I am saying to you is that there was a time when public school meant something. Now, I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm not going to blame the parents. I'm not going to blame the teachers. I'm not going to blame the administrators. I'm not even going to blame society. But we're all to blame.
Correct.
We are all to blame. Our children cannot read, but some of them, have you ever thought that children inside of these public school systems, they just don't have an affinity for it? Maybe they want to be something else. Everybody doesn't want to go to college.
And everybody's not intended to go to college.
Well, I won't say that.
Well, no, when I say
if
that,
you want to go,
well, and today,
yes.
we're talking about the 25th of 2023 of July.
Exactly.
Economically or financially is different from when you and I might have attended college.
Okay.
Or did attend college.
Now let's be facing it. I went with affirmative action, so they were handing money out of windows when I went to college.
And which
To
is
black folk.
Which is a good thing.
Yes, it was.
And again, we're listening to the Body Talk Radio program on No Static Radio Network. And if you have any comments or questions, you can call area code 216-939-5087, or you can email those questions to bodytalkradioprogram@gmail.com. When I say not everybody's intended to go financially in today's world,
right.
Academically, some people
Sure.
just don't want to be. I'm not making fun of anybody. An engineer, chemist, a physician, or a dentist, or whatever.
Exactly.
So, or even an accountant. So there has to be an alternative.
Exactly.
And before we, kind of sort of go back to your concept program, I will say this, and I've said this on the air, and I'm not going to blame anybody personally.
Okay.
I agree with you that the majority of the residents in a given city, an urban city, depend on the public school system for their education.
Yes.
If you look nationally, the majority of the urban school districts, which is code speak for black, brown, and poor white.
It's not even code speak for it. Come on. It's talk. Okay? Not code. Not code. Don't give them that privilege.
Okay, I won't give them that. When I say code speak, I mean more so for a certain generation. When you hear urban, they instantly think of city.
They should.
Okay, they should. So since it's your show, we're not going to say code speak.
Don't say code speak.
Okay, we don't say code speak.
Yeah.
And I don't want the audience to think that Laverne and I are arguing. This is how we talk to each
Yes.
other. So most of the public school districts, the urban school districts, they are failing.
Yes.
Cleveland, Chicago, New York,
Yes.
Miami,
Yes.
Minneapolis,
Yes.
St. Louis,
Yes.
LA.
Yes.
They are failing. Detroit, thank you.
Detroit.
Akron.
Columbus. Akron. Would we want to go the whole country?
Well,
Public
we
school?
only have an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No.
I didn't know if this is going to be geography.
Yeah, well, they're failing.
Yes.
And again, I'm not going to announce what your concept is. That's why the children are at the adults' mercy. They're at our mercy because we should be making good decisions for them to be educated so that they don't have to do a 13th grade or 14th
Exactly.
grade or go off to a community college and or four-year university and enroll in remedial programs, which don't count towards anything.
Nothing.
But you pay for them like you take
Yes.
a regular course.
Yes.
So now that I got my somewhat political announcement,
Right.
so let's go back. You mentioned kids need an alternative.
They do. And, what's so interesting is back when I went to, high school, I could have become a hairdresser and still went to college. So it wasn't that I'm saying I went to college in lieu of something, but I became a hairdresser in college. I mean, in high school. And there were a lot of hairdressers in high school.
Right.
There were a lot of secretary, because we took typing then. There was a lot of things you could be and still go to college. The thing about here is they've made it college prep and you learn nothing else. And from what I understand, based on the National Education Association, they are learning nothing else, and a lot of times nothing. But here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity. What if you got that guy that loves doing fixing on cars? Like my brother, he could fix a car. You know, he didn't have the computer to do it. He could fix a car. So Max Hayes became the school for him.
Right.
And you could take your car over to Max Hayes as a community and get your car fixed at Max Hayes. Why don't we have trade schools? Why aren't we teaching plumbers? Why aren't we having, where are the unions at? They need help. We have a real serious problem here with workers. Why wouldn't we combine the unions and start our trade schools as apprenticeship programs? You know, you go to school. Do you remember Max Hayes? You go to school part-time and then you go to work part-time.
Correct.
Why couldn't you do that? My plumber told me that at the end of this year, he's retiring. And when he's retiring, who's going to take his place?
See, it's interesting. You're listening to the Body Talk radio program on the No Static Radio Network. And in the studio, we have 4 interns. And one of the interns is actually a student at Max Hayes.
Are you?
Yes. So,
I'd like to know what she thought.
Well, maybe we'll get her on in between the break here.
Yeah.
But so let's go back for a minute.
When you're saying interns, are the interns in Cleveland Public Schools?
She's still a student, and we'll take a break, maybe about 5 or 10 minutes. Let's say about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And we'll have her come on.
Don't leave.
Oh, we're listening to the Vern Jones Gore, and it's her program. No, it's
I'm sorry.
no. That's just that's fine.
Yeah.
She's not going to go anywhere because we locked the door. She can't get out.
Don't say that. I didn't lock the door.
There's a button here.
All right.
Button underneath the desk. See, one of the things, and I agree with you. You and I are basically from the same generation.
Sure.
Okay. And I know you're a little bit older than I am, I think.
You better quit.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm 2 days older than you. So one of the things that's important here is we had those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have a chance to be my older brother.
Mm-hmm.
We were 18 months apart. All of us, when I say he and I, attended public schools. And I never will forget one day we both came back home to visit. And we were sitting in our 10 by 10 bedroom with the 2 twin beds, 2 dressers. How we ever pulled that off, I don't know. And I never will forget what he said.
Mm.
He said, we have to have plan A through Z
Sure.
to the 3rd power
Sure.
now.
Sure.
Because even today, when we were growing up, and I equate life to a sliding glass door.
Mm-hmm.
The door for us was wide open.
Mm-hmm.
The trade schools were thriving.
Mm-hmm.
Trade opportunities were thriving. If you and I didn't want to go to college, we could either work at one of the steel mills,
Ford,
GM,
Chrysler.
Those are at post office.
That's right.
Go to the military.
Yes.
And some of us even had the option to avoid jail to go to the military. There were
very important judges out there. Yes.
And I'm not saying the judges aren't good. That was an option.
But that was a deterrent as well.
It was. It was. Kids today don't have the sliding glass door is only open maybe an inch for them today. Those opportunities aren't there as we sit here today and speak. And you brought up the trades. A lot of people don't understand how the union trade system works. I might be a great electrician. I call it a backyard or shade tree mechanic, or let's say electrician. If I'm not a craft member, I don't have a number. So if there's a project occurring in Cleveland, I'm not on the list to be called.
Yes.
So again, I'm general term. These kids should be given an opportunity to be developed and to become craftsmen, plumber, electrician, or whatever, steel worker. And they can flourish.
They can now.
Yeah.
And you gotta here. There's a reason for all this happening. As baby boomers, we were the largest group population to hit the earth, and that's all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So the society had a lot of needs. Well, the baby boomer population is old now. and they're retiring.
Correct.
So all of those people that influxed into the society are either dying, older and don't want to do it,
Mhm.
or just decided that it's we need to make that transition. We didn't make the transition properly. We allowed our children to not make those choices. When we grew up, we had to choose. You didn't. No, you gonna do something.
Correct.
My parents told me, you're gonna do something.
Make a decision.
Yeah, or I'll decide for you.
And it's not gonna be what
Right.
you want.
Right. So you got a choice here.
Mhm.
What we have now is we have a society, and I was just reading an article in Wall Street that says that why are teachers leaving teaching? Okay? Because the children maybe have too many choices, and they're deciding that they want to go party in college. Okay? My father, I brought my grades home just like I did when I was in 6th grade, when I was an undergraduate, because he wanted to know. Now, even though I had a full scholarship, he had to get that ticket to get me back home, so he was invested.
Right.
Okay? So he wanted to know what I was doing there. In the high schools, the public school systems right now, we have to convince our children that their future is dependent upon making choices. And we have to have the fortuitousness to say to them, these are some choices you can make. We aren't giving them any choices. We aren't saying to them, you can go to the trade school, you can go, because the trade school still exists.
Correct.
The unions, you go try to find a union painter right now.
You can't.
You can't. They don't exist anymore. They want the kids too. But as parents, maybe, and as administrators, we have allowed them to think that the only way to progress is to go to college. That's not the only way.
No,
And we're not going to demean anything they pick as far as the trades are concerned.
and you're listening to the Body Talk program on the No Static Radio Network. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, rather, you can call area code 216-939-5087. See, it's interesting when you mentioned your dad wanted to see your grades, because, and I'm speaking out of turn here, so I'm taking the liberty. If your grades fail, you might have lost your full ride.
Exactly.
So your father, your parents had to figure out, well, if she loses X, we either got to come out of pocket. And like I said, we're from the same generation. And, when I was in college, my father, I was on the partial at first and got a full ride later. My parents said, don't waste our money.
Mm-hmm.
This is more so
Sure.
my first year. Then as time went by, more so in that first year, I remember what my father said, because he made me write the check. He made me write the check when I was in high school too. But he said, I'm not buying any books. He said, you got to have some skin in the game here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to waste your books, back then were relatively cheap, but they seemed expensive. If you want to waste your $400, that's fine. But don't waste my money. We really weren't. We were given direction, and we had choices. They said, you pick where you want to go, but stick to it. And I give all due credit and respect to my parents.
Sure.
They gave me the opportunity to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me the wherewithal to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one thing they always said: you're going to be committed, you're going to be dedicated, you're going to be responsible for your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Generalizing again, most kids today, they don't know what it means to be committed. They have no idea what it means to be dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
And,
because we didn't teach them. Moses Jones and Josephine Jones, who are my parents, and they're both dead right now. My father never said anything to me except, you're going to be the best. I don't give a damn what you do. I mean, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
FCC's out. They're on strike.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're going to be the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
He had 9 kids on 92nd and Huff. And he said, I don't care. And he told it to us all. You're going to be the best. I don't care if you're a ditch digger. It's going to be honest. And you're going to be the best at doing it.
Correct.
And he would say that every single day. We didn't have no money. We had an old kind of piece of house that he was fixing on all the time. But my parents taught us to respect each other, to respect them, but most importantly, respect ourselves. And the object of the game is you will be the best.
Yeah, regardless of what, and I agree with
whatever
you.
You're doing.
My
And that's what we are not teaching our children, that they are qualified, they can be the best, and they can do whatever they want to do.
You know, and you listen to the Body Talk program on the No Static Radio Network. What's interesting, Laverne, and we can talk about the social ills.
Sure.
And we can go back and forth, but I really want to kind of focus on your concept here. See,
my concept doesn't work without parental input. And people like you, people like them, it doesn't work. They've got to start respecting and feeling good about themselves and accept this program, accept something that's better.
There's and I'll send it to you. I don't think I sent it to you this week. There's a short clip out called Broken.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come from a broken environment,
mm-hmm.
you're going to be broken because that's what people think is correct.
That's what somebody sold them is correct.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
See, you and I, coming from that generation, and again, I'm 2 hours older than you, so I keep shrinking as the minutes go by. See, what's important here, and I'm not one who necessarily aspires that you have to have two parents in the household.
Of course not.
Okay, because Dad could have died early.
My husband did.
And in some cases, it's okay. Parents could have got divorced.
Of course, and that happens.
And it happens. And I can only speak personally. My father and uncle came from a single parent household.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one of them ever went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
They worked until they retired.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't abuse their wives or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. So they turned out okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's important, and I think more so for this generation, you and I, whatever success means,
Mm-hmm.
we're success stories.
Okay.
You came from a family with 9 children. You have undergrad from a private college, 2 master's degrees. And your master's, and I'm not making fun of anybody who's a geology major or art major. You have 2 high-powered master's degrees. You literally could have gone and worked anywhere you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And even those who follow your career,
Mm-hmm.
you're not supposed to be where you are. One, because you're a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're success stories. And our children should be much more successful than we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your sons are.
They're attorneys, yeah.
Well,
but I was a single parent. Now remember that.
Mm-hmm. And that's good. And like I said, I'm never going to knock any woman who's raising children
Mm-hmm.
by herself.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see a woman in a house by herself being a good parent versus being in a home with another bad parent. I'm not saying your husband was a bad parent. I don't know him personally.
He dropped dead.
Yeah, he died. But
Okay.
it's just looking at how you've done your sons.
Mm-hmm.
You somewhat model them after your parents,
My father and mother.
mother, and their dad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, you had a dad, and boom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think more so for children today, they have too many excuses. See, we weren't given excuses. That was unacceptable
Mm-hmm.
in our house.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't asked, would you like to wash the dishes?
Mm-hmm.
No, we were told to go wash the dishes. And my father had a snowblower.
Mm-hmm.
It was called My Brother and Myself.
Yeah.
He had a landscaping company. It's called My Brother and
Exactly.
Myself.
Exactly.
Right? My father wasn't a lazy man. He had a personal trash company. It was called My Brother and Myself.
Yeah.
And when he came home, the trash cans were out and taken back. If it snowed, we shoveled the driveway so he could go to work before we went to elementary school. And we had to shovel the driveway to be sure he could get back in the driveway after he finished work.
Yeah.
All right. And I don't want to say it doesn't exist today, but you don't see it as much.
Right.
And you mentioned that very difficult word, the respect.
Mm-hmm.
My parents were not my friends.
No.
Oh no.
And I'm not my son's
Oh
friends.
no.
Now I think I'm getting.
But the
to that.
relationship
changed, right?
Because they're full-fledged grown adults.
Right.
And my daughter sends me a check every month. And she owes me $16.5 million. But and I told her I kept receipts when she was growing up. As my parents told me, or told both of them, I say us, we're not your friends. You have your own friends.
Mm-hmm.
We have ours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm your father. I'm your mother. Mm-hmm. You're not going to go drink with us. You're not going to go party. And they didn't do all that. You're not going to go party with us. Mm-hmm. And you got to have that deference, that relationship, mm-hmm. especially as you're growing up and you become a teenager. Mm-hmm. And I'm turning the mic back over to you.
I think one of the things for me and my sons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting concept because none of my sons are to call in on this show, okay?
I knew you could say that.
I don't want to know. Because my sons thought they thought, oh my God, mom is the worst. Mm-hmm. But the whole time they were growing up, they thought she's crazy. Something wrong with her. She's I was very into discipline. But I always told my son about the rewards. Mom, I said, no, I live in a big house because I can pay for a big house. And you will not live here with me if you don't get an occupation that allows you to pay for something else. I was very open with my children. But the bigger issue is, right now, how can we not help them when we didn't prepare them to take care of themselves? And now, we talk about the military. My children went through the military.
Well, again, share with the audience. Your two sons were buck privates or something like that?
My children graduated from West Point military school.
Oh,
military academy.
The military, better known as West Point.
Yes, West Point.
Tough, easy school to get into, right?
I was a national recruiter for West Point.
Okay.
We all know that. And a lot of African Americans weren't getting in. I'm proud to say mm-hmm. that a number of them got in as a result of when I was in the recruiting business for West Point. And all of the military academies. Yeah.
Full disclosure, that's how you weren't recruiting, but both you and I were at a function together. And I'll be blunt with you, I was captivated with the conversation. You said West Point, mm-hmm. and you told me the national recruiting. I said, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. And my children went on to be attorneys. Mm-hmm. I think the bigger issue is they never once knew when their last day with me was. Because at that point that you become a man, and I say man, woman too, you will have responsibilities. People thought I was the worst mother in the world because you had to pay me $125 a week when you start to get a job. You got to pay me. We all working in here. We all trying to do it. But I think we aren't giving our children an opportunity to make money. What are we doing? If your kid doesn't go to West Point or to Harvard, does that mean he's a loser?
No.
No. Maybe, like I said, he wants to be something. Why not combine this program with the unions or the trade schools? That's the unions. You do know that because we still have a very serious system of union organization here when we go from apprentice to journeyman to master. Right. My father was a printer, so he went from that 5 years of an apprenticeship to the 5 years of a journeyman, and then he became a master printer. But it's much like any other. It's like going to law school to me. My dad had to produce a product to get his journeyman's credential. Then he had to produce a product to become a master printer. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful work, in lithography. But it provides you with a sense of pride. Do you think all these children that are in the public school systems just want to act up like they're all saying in all these articles? They want to do. Teachers are saying, I'm quitting teaching because I can't control the children. I'm quitting teaching because I can't control the parents. I'm quitting teachers because they want me to do too much as administrators. What do you think this is all signaling to the children? Nobody wants to be bothered with us.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Well, there is no hope. Okay? There is no hope. Well, and we can't allow our children to continue to believe that.
You can't, and we shouldn't.
We shouldn't.
Raise a child, as they say, biblically. But one of the things that is disappointing that I see more so in Greater Cleveland, we have given up on the kids.
We have.
We've labeled them It's thugs,
Mm-hmm.
thieves,
Mm-hmm.
murderers.
But it's our fault. We have been operating a D and an F rated school system for years. Now, we have mayoral control over it, and we have had mayoral control, and these are African American mayors that have been in control. So let's not try who?
Jane Campbell. Jane Campbell.
Okay, Jane Campbell, but she didn't last that long. Come on. So that was not, but I know Jane, and hi, Jane. I think that we allowed our children. If you put somebody that accepts a D minus, Paul W. Briggs was in charge of the school system, when I graduated, we were 25th in the nation. We're just a failing school system right now. We don't care about these children, and if we did, we would do more.
Well,
I wrote something on someone's page, and this woman just went off on me on my Facebook page. You can go on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, he's got to do a listening tour. How many listening tours you got to come up with when you failing? Come on, let's get busy. Let's get busy. We don't do anything to help these children. And some of them are not children. They're actively moving into the adult range. And we have not prepared them for anything. We have failed at our jobs. I am saying, as parents, as community members, as whatever you want us to be at this time, taxpayer for me, because I pay a lot of taxes. Why can't we help them? And I live in Cleveland. I live in Cleveland. And yes, okay, I live in a certain part of Cleveland, but I live in Cleveland. But I got nabbed on that the last time. Cleveland's Cleveland.
Cleveland's Cleveland.
I am just saying, we failed our children, but here we have an opportunity to help them. Let's give them something that will allow them to raise a family. We talk about, we shouldn't be giving out this program. We shouldn't. You can't afford it. I make a very decent living. And to live in my neighborhood, you got to have a decent living because of the taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have not prepared these children for anything, these young people, what do you think happens to them? They need to have food stamps. They need to have Section 8 or at least some type of supplemental help with their living conditions. But if we take all that away from them, and I'm a baby boomer, so I'll say we did it, and we gave them nothing. We can't even give them an opportunity to earn a living. I'm saying this budget that we have under this new administrator who has to go on a listening tour, we are failing our children. Let's come up with something that will allow them to take care of their families as they have them. How do you say, single parents can't take care of their children? Because you didn't prepare them. Part of the public school initiative is so that they can be financially capable to earn a living. They're not. So why do you think, and I'm not just talking about black women, I'm talking about any color woman, you can't feed kids, and why would I deny? Well, then we shouldn't allow them to have children. That's on the one end, right? If you can't take care of your child, we can, and I'm going to get hit on this one. But in the other end, they're saying, well, then you should be allowed to not have it because you can't take care of it. Why not teach them how to take care of the children? And this is a way to do it. Trade schools.
Right. And we're going to get to the depths of what your concept is. You're listening to the Body Talk program on the No Static Radio Network. And our special guest is Laverne.
Right.
On score. And see, what's interesting when you talk about a listening tour, and I don't know when that term was born, per se.
All I do is read my paper.
Yeah.
I read the paper. You read it too.
When certain elected or appointed folks, well, we have to go on a listening tour.
What do you want to know? That an F is an F? Our children are failing. Our children don't have food. Our children don't have the right environment they're living in. They don't have playgrounds. They don't have athletics in their school system. And you don't give them shop. You don't give them any way to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
What
the arts
do you
program,
think? Arts.
School, supplemental center was closed. The science center, et cetera, et cetera.
But we can pave parking lots. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When I say the listening tour, I'm not making fun of. I believe his name is Dr. Jenkins. Who's going to be the new. I still call him superintendent versus CEO.
I thought his name was Morgan.
Whatever.
Morgan, yeah.
Bill Morgan, Jenkins, Smith. Bridges.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because we're still failing.
Right. When you say listening tour, to me, it's okay to listen. You should listen to people, but you don't have to traverse the city to figure out that we're failing. See, one of the things that
They just had a listening tour. How many listening tours do they need to find out?
well, it depends on how high the volume is in your hearing aid. See, one of the things that I somewhat focus on is more so driven by my career. We know what the what is.
Of course we do.
The what is you have a failing school district.
And our children are suffering.
Right. So figure out the why. Why are they failing, and what programs do we need to put in place to take it from an F to a D plus, from D plus to a C, or from an F to a C, or whatever. See, nobody wants to do that. It's even and somewhat related here. It's just like the violence issue in Cleveland. Everybody knows the what.
Mm-hmm.
You got violence out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just this morning, it actually came out yesterday, the FBI stood up and said, there's a gang problem in Cleveland.
Wow. You really think so? I'm being facetious.
I know. And I'm asking, and again, it's related. You never hear that out of the city. Nobody from the city administration or council says there's a gang problem in Cleveland. You know, some of the
What exactly do you hear out of the city of Cleveland? Because you seem to think that they're talking a lot. I don't hear anything. I can't even, I mean, come on, tell me what are they saying? Are they talking about the kids? Are
No.
they talking about the education? And I think the mayor's in charge of the school system, correct?
he is now.
Okay.
Again, I'm being quite serious with you and the listeners. What you believe in, you fund.
Exactly.
If you don't believe in it, you can give lip service to it,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't support it.
Our children are the most important thing we have.
Correct.
Not our land, not our stocks, not our bonds. It's our children.
Because, ultimately, and I'm going to stretch it here just a minute, the children who are in school today are going to take our place doing something. And I'm just using a program. They are going to be making decisions about people's Social Security. But these certain children, I may say everybody, but let's say the majority of children can't read, let alone comprehend.
66% illiteracy ratio. Okay.
Yeah, 70% in certain wards
Right.
across the city of Cleveland. That's dangerous. That's terrible.
Let me tell you, 7 of the guys that hung out with my sons,
Mhm.
right, all graduated from West Point.
Just
They all
something-
came. Well, the type group. What do
Right,
they
I
call
know.
them? They're
the posse,
they're
the
boys
gang.
or
Yeah.
whatever they are. They all went to West Point together and they all graduated. Let me tell you something. They will become whatever you expect them to become, whatever you tell them they can become, whatever you make available to them, and whatever you pat them on the back and congratulate them for being, they will. We have none of that. We don't have. If I don't hear about what anybody's talking about our children, all I hear about is they're killing each other, they're twerking, they're doing whatever they can do, but maybe they're trying to get our attention. And I'm saying, let's find out where they are. I'm back to my trade schools. I think that being a plumber, I know what my plumber charges me. How I want to learn plumbing, but electricians. Let's do something else with our children. Contractors. Let's make all of us accountable. Let's make us all accountable.
So let's dive deeper into your concept here.
Yes.
It's about the trade. And how would you go about developing, more so implementing this program in the city of Cleveland?
Okay, it's an easy fix because we had it already. This is a repeat.
Okay.
At Jane Addams, you went to Jane Addams, you became a nurse.
That's where the guys hung out so they could meet the girls.
Yeah, you became a nurse.
Mhm.
You had state-of-the-art technology at Jane Addams.
Right.
So when you graduated Jane Addams, I think you were an LPN, and you could go on.
Right.
You went to Max Hayes, you could fix a car, and you could do electrical work. That's what happens there. And so you came out, people at Lincoln Electric, all over these little plants, they would come and recruit our kids. Okay? I say we give them state of the art, not the refuse that don't nobody want that you find at these outlet stores.
Right.
I'm talking about state of the art equipment. Maybe little Johnny doesn't like Shakespeare and he could give a darn less, okay? as to the Chaucer tales or anything close to that. But you put him in a room and you throw a car next to him, or you throw an entire system. The infrastructure of the United States of America has diminished so poorly that they don't know if it's going to hold up.
See, it's interesting.
These guys can take it.
See, it's interesting because, like you mentioned, infrastructure,
Pipe fitters.
and like I said, plumbers. I actually look over my plumber's shoulder so I can stop calling him. But and he is costly. And I'm not gonna tell you who he is because he's not paying for sponsorship of the show. See, it's one thing that we've lost, and let's just focus on Cleveland. See, manufacturing's disappeared here.
Okay.
It went overseas.
Sure.
And not gonna get into
Wasn't that the biggest regret we ever did? Go on.
Well, we're not gonna mention that.
Okay.
But you just did.
Okay.
So it disappeared here. So there was no motive or drive to keep these programs flourishing in the schools because somebody said, oh, we can get cheap labor in Central America, Mexico, or Poland, or wherever.
Sure, sure.
But the prices didn't diminish here.
Mm-hmm.
The costs actually still went to continue to rise. So those programs that you're mentioning said, well, we don't need that over here anymore, blah, 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 blah. But it's sad, and we'll have Reggie come on. Reg. She's a student at Max Hayes. Reggie, if you walk around here, and we'll put you on the show. Come on, Reg. See, one of the things that are important here, and I do agree with you, and again,
but we're bringing immigrants in to do skilled labor now, in case you want to know that, and we want them to take our jobs, not our kids.
Well, see, one of the things that's bad about, and I'm not knocking immigrants, okay?
I don't knock immigrants. I'm just saying America first.
Well, take care of home first.
That's it. That's what my father taught me.
That's what my parents taught us.
Okay.
Before you invite the whole block here for dinner,
right.
Be sure you eat first.
We got 4 pork chops, and you got 9 to feed.
You have 4?
4. Yep, and they cut them up nice and make a big gravy over some rice.
Okay. So it's interesting. Again, going back 3 or 4 weeks. Come over here, Rich. It's interesting that where we are today, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure she's on camera shot. This is Regina. We call her Reggie.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, she's an intern. She's a student at Max Hayes.
Yeah.
We call her Reggie.
Okay.
And I'm going to go back and forth. And probably Laverne to be the one interviewing you because it's her show. I'm just the co-host here today. One of the things that when I first met Reggie, and all the interns, but Reggie specifically, this young lady can do things to a car that you and I talked about as kids recently. And when you and I had our first car, you could open up the hood, you could at least see the ground.
Yes.
You open up the car today, you need a computer.
Yes.
You need a computer.
Yes.
The computer will tell you what's
Yes.
wrong with the car. So, Reggie, tell everybody, first off, you don't have to share your last name. Regina, and you attend what school?
Max Hayes.
Max Hayes is where?
65th and Clark.
In Clark. That would be geographically on the west side of Cleveland for those who are in Cleveland. And you listen to the Body Talk radio program on the No Static Radio Network. So, Reggie, what are your interests at Max Hayes?
To become an automotive technician.
And what is the automotive technician?
I don't know how to explain it, but it's basically where you just work like under the hood of a car, or like it's not just technically just under the hood, the tires and things like that.
Okay, when I was talking to you were on the show about a month or so ago. What's that thing that stops the car? Called the brakes, right?
Mhm.
Can you do a brake job on a car?
Mhm.
You can do a brake job. So you pull those rubber things off that are called tires,
Yeah.
and you know how to compress what's that thing with the brake pads would help? The caliper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
The
compress.
little, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like
Not the rotors, is it?
no.
Well, the rotors are what the caliper sits on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to show her that I do know a little bit about car. So you compress the caliper to open up the pins, and you take what brake pads out, and you put brake pads back in,
Yeah.
and you pump the brake pedal to bring the fluid level back up, and you do that for all four, 2 tires at a time, right?
Mhm.
An axle. Have you changed spark plugs and things like that?
No, we get into that this year actually.
And just to share with the audience, what grade are you in?
I'm about to be a junior in August.
A junior, so that's the, go ahead.
Oh yeah, 11th grade.
That's
Yeah.
11th grade, okay. And now, if to share with the audience, because I asked you, what do you want to do when you graduate? You want to go on to Yale University, or what do you want to do?
I want to go to college and take up a teacher degree and possibly cosmetology.
So, okay, so you're 3 different skills,
Yeah.
which is fine, okay?
Yes.
So you have option A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
And if you recall, you can test your memory because your memory is probably better than Laverne and mine. You mentioned to me that you ultimately would like to own your own shop.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you're not going to work in the shop. You're probably going to hire Laverne and me and pay us bad wages. And no, you're going to pay us appropriately. And so you're going to own the shop, prospectively teach, and also have a Cosmo shop, if I may, to do hair, nails, and full.
It's called alternative streams of income, and I'm impressed.
Okay.
I am exactly
Okay.
impressed.
So this year you're going to get into what at Max Hayes?
We're gonna get into like the headlights, like changing headlights and stuff like that. I mean, we did kind of most of the stuff that we're supposed to do this year, last year, because we moved so quickly. And he just teaches us different things. Actually, I actually don't know what all we get into this year coming up, but I just know that we're getting into headlights and stuff like that.
What made you choose this, auto mechanics?
My brother went to that school, so that's why I went there. But when I was younger, I used to watch my sister, dad work on my mom's car and stuff. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And I would have worked on my own car, so don't nobody try to cheat me out my money.
Independence.
Mm-hmm.
I just paid $780 for a brake job, so that would be money that you would be getting. You know, and even if you put, what kind of a certificate do you get when you leave out of Max Hayes? Are you a certified auto something?
Yep.
And how many children are enrolled in your class?
Ooh. In my grade, cause it's different. He got different classes, and it's about 23 of us. I'm the only girl in there.
That was going to be a question. How many females are there?
I am
Incredible, isn't it?
I am the only girl.
And you probably do things better, if not equal to.
I mean, the boys. It's like 2 of the boys is like up there.
Well, but you listen to
Yeah.
the Body Talk program on No Static Radio Network, and we have Laverne and Jones Gore and Reggie from Max Hayes. It's okay to
I
be
actually got my next age shirt on.
because
All right,
Max Hayes
girl.
shirt on.
Are you proud of what you're accomplishing at the Cleveland Public School? I mean, at Max Hayes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're preparing you to be this auto mechanic
Mm-hmm.
person.
We just don't got that. We got all different other types.
Well, tell me about it.
We got 7 trades. There's welding, computer aid design, CNC, building construction, auto body, auto tech, and diesel. So I think that's 8.
Okay, so it's localized around the auto situation mostly. You said diesel.
Yeah.
Are there electricians there?
Well, that's part of building construction.
Okay, are there plumbers? Is that part of it? That you
Mhm.
can, and you walk out of there with certifications for these kinds of things?
Yep.
I'm impressed. I haven't seen any. They're telling me that the unions are not hired. They don't have, are they hiring? When you
But
leave school, do they come and hire you?
the teachers have connections, and some of the students talk to the connections that the teachers have, and
But like a job fair?
yeah.
Okay.
And when you're in 12th grade, you don't have to stay in school the whole day. You can go work, but it got to be like in the field that you're taking the class for.
Okay, so then you have like trades unions that are like taking you guys in as
Mhm.
apprentices,
Mhm.
And that happens while you're in school?
But you gotta be in 12th grade though. You have to be in 12th grade. If you're not in 12th grade, it don't happen like that. Because you got more classes when you're in 9th, 10th, and 11th. 9th graders don't take trades until they're in 10th grade.
Okay.
So they have time to choose their trade while they're in 9th grade.
So let me, just a quick question. Did you start during the 9th grade?
No.
You started when? 10th grade?
Mm-hmm.
What other courses do you take besides the ones that are automotive related?
I took, for last year,
Yes.
I did geometry, English 2. I had a second math class that was called Math Intervention. I had biology.
So
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Then you don't have to give no more.
I'm
'Cause
sorry, I was just trying to think like, yeah.
Okay.
So while you're in school and you're learning all these things, you know, you are aware that the Cleveland Public School System has a D-. Do you have to have special skills to get into your school?
No.
Everybody can come to Max Hayes.
I don't have special skills.
It's not special skills, like a C+ average, or you have to take a test.
Nope.
Okay, good.
So, and excuse me, Laverne.
Then
You just applied, enrolled at Max Hayes, and boom, you said I'm interested in automotive, and you're in it, and that's what you do. See, now and I can only compare. You weren't born back when we were, Max Hayes was. Max Hayes was predominantly an all-boys school.
it was,
Jane Addams was the all-girls school.
which
Jane
taught
Addams-
nursing.
Right, taught nursing and secretarial science and some other things.
Yes, secretarial science.
What's interesting about you're the only girl
Yeah.
in a male, and now there are other female mechanics out here. And I'm just saying this from my perspective. I wish that your internship would start in the 11th grade. So I'm going to assume you're going to moonlight and do brake jobs on the side. And so,
At my house, I hope.
because you can take the screw and pull the rotor off, put new rotors on, put new pads on, and the whole 9 yards. You can do that now.
I want to know what the people that graduated, what are they doing? Do you keep in contact
Not at all.
They don't come back to the school and
to
talk.
say how they're employed?
Yes, some students actually do that, but some days they don't let them like actually come back and talk to the old teachers and stuff. They have to go run it through the principal, and yeah.
Which is understandable. Nobody should just walk
Sure,
in
walk
and
into
say,
a
"Hey,
school,
Reg,
yeah.
I work at Buick Ford."
Might be an
Volvo."
inspiration though.
Right.
Does Buick and Volvo come and talk to you guys about jobs?
Our teacher set that up last year actually, and technical college came to our school last year and talked to us about their college program thing, and they gave us brochures. I still have mine, but it's at home. But yeah, the college came to talk to us, and we had a little trade show, and yeah.
Now, I've talked to your graduates that have graduated in the past. Do they have a job fair program for you?
What you mean by that? Like,
Where one night everybody fills the auditorium and they come in and okay, then that is okay, because they're saying that the skills you need, they're not employable. You have to do you guys get jobs when you're done? And seniors, somebody doesn't want to go to college. Like you're awful bright and you're awful, you're just fantastic. Okay?
The principals and their teacher can actually set them up with a job.
So everybody in their field.
Yeah.
So you listen to the Body Talk program on No Static Radio Network. If you have any questions or comments, you can call your go 216-939-5087, or you can email them to bodytalkradioprogram@gmail.com. And we have Laverne Jones-Gore and the wonderful Reggie, the mechanic, and we'll give her number so y'all can get these inexpensive brake jobs.
Yeah,
But-
750 is too much.
So, Laverne, if you just would pull the mic in front of you so everybody
Okay,
can
so
hear you.
you're feeling very comfortable. You think that when you graduate out of high school, and everybody in the Cleveland Public School, Metropolitan School, has the opportunity to come and do exactly what you're doing?
I mean,
There's 23 children in your class.
Yeah.
There's some thousand in Cleveland Public Schools. Is Max Hayes the only school that allows this?
I believe so. Yeah.
And there's open it like at John Hay, you have to pass a test to get in there. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
And at other schools, you have to pass the test. So they let anybody into Max Hayes?
Anybody.
They will let me in?
No, not. And there's no overcrowding, nothing, huh?
I mean, sometimes it was a lot of ninth graders last year, and some kids didn't get in. But it's not like you got to take a test or anything. You just apply through the school choice thing or whatever it is.
Because they have open enrollment program thing.
Yeah,
Open choice. It's called.
8th grade, they give you a thing. They give you a website, and you can choose your schools, and yeah, you just pick it.
You
It's
give
like,
them a couple of choices, or you just say, I want to go to Max Hayes, and you're in.
it's not like that. You just gotta apply and see if you get in first.
Okay, so there is an application process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
but you don't have like to take a test or anything.
okay. So they use your application as a means to decide where you go. So you take 3 choices.
You could choose 3 schools. I believe it was 3. I chose 3.
Well, at West Point, they give you 3 choices. You go to infantry, wherever you're going, and they somehow you don't find out until the day of that you got where you wanted to go.
Mm-mm.
This one you find out immediately.
You find out after a while. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
You don't have to worry about how to explain it. I'm not
Yeah.
into that. I'm just saying you got your choice, and so anybody that wants to come to Max Hayes gets to come.
You listen to the Body Talk program on the No Static Radio Network, and we have a special guest, Vern and Reggie. And we just been
she's
joined
phenomenal.
by another.
Put the address when I leave.
we just everything you can't explain, Reggie. Takes $50 off break job.
Yeah.
But no,
Oh.
I'm just teasing you. We've been joined by another favorite intern of mine. Reggie's also another favorite. I'll explain that later. We have Christine here, who also is a student at CMSD. And where do you go to school, Christine?
John Hay.
John Hay. And what are you studying at John Hay?
Architecture and design.
And what is architectural design?
It's architecture and design. But
And design, I'm sorry.
we just take engineering classes and they teach us how to do blueprints and how we do like we have this 3D printing machine where it like prints off the wax, I think, and it builds stuff.
Okay.
Then you have to put blocks together and make sculptures
And
Wow.
What grade are you in?
I'm going to the 11th now.
You're going to be a junior, just like Reggie over here. Now, for those of you who are listening outside of Cleveland, Max Hayes is a school in a school in a school. So what other programs do they have at Max
Yeah.
Hayes?
Max Hayes.
John Hay.
John Hay. I'm
John
sorry.
Hay.
We have science and medicine, early college, and architecture design.
Okay, now what is early college?
Early college, that's like the best. That's the best program. I heard it's the hardest, but I don't go there, so I wouldn't know. But all of your classes, they're either AP or honors, and you have to take college classes. You have to have at least, I think, 2 college credits to graduate when you're going there.
So they could be through Tri-C, which is College Community College, or some other university in and around Greater Cleveland. So let's go back to your program. How did you get into John Hay?
Well, I just had to write an essay and have recommendations. They read it and had to approve it. Well, they had to set me, just after once they set me. Then I have a 3.0 GPA to get into science and medicine and architectural design,
None of this for you, right?
and a 3.5 to get in early college.
So let's go back to last year. You were playing with this computer, making these blocks and models and all that other good stuff, okay? Trying to make you smile and relax. So when you did that, what did you learn?
I don't know, it's really fun. Like, I got the creative part of it.
Okay. So did anybody come from outside the school, like Mr. and Mrs. Architect, and talk to you? Or have you attended any sessions about job opportunities? Is anybody preparing you for that?
We did have this one class called CCP ideation, I think that's how you pronounce it. And
Okay.
they come from Tri-C, and we had to come up with something that's never been invented before, or if it has, it has to be better.
Wow.
and it has to do with biology. It has to have something to do with biology and technology. We had to make a product, and we had to go present in front of Tri-C, and they had to decide who won. I don't know who won, but they did say
Like a science fair.
They did say my group did really good.
Yeah, what did you, do you remember, well, I'm sure you remember, what did you develop?
We had to pick groups. It was me, my brother, and my friend, and we had something called the iron wristband, and basically it tells you when your iron's low and it pricks your blood to let you. It pricks your blood and reads it, and this is our invention, and it tells you if your blood is high or low. If it's not super low, our thing will give you like a pill to boost it, and if it's super low, it will ping your location to the nearest hospital and send you there. So that way.
What's the next step for you?
Like after high school, there's a lot of things I want to do. I do know I'm going to go to college for sure. I just don't know what I'm majoring. There's a lot of different things I want to do.
How do you feel about the trades? Is this something that you think should be offered within the high school system
Yes, I
for
do.
those people that are into something
My
else?
brother, he want to go to trade school. He don't want to go to college, and he's already looking at stuff.
What type of trade does your brother want to enter into?
He just told me about it, but I forgot what it's called. It's like.
Sure, you can go look on your phone.
He
You're
texted
listening-
me. He telling me about it.
You're listening to the Body Talk program on the No Static Radio Network, and my special guest slash co-host, but co-host slash guest, is Laverne, and we have Reggie.
Reggie, I want to know from Reggie if they're going. Have you been offered scholarships? Are you looking into scholarships for your college level admissions? So are you looking at colleges right now? Okay. Have you decided on any? Is it something that you?
I mean, I want to go to Ohio State, but
Oh,
it's like
why not? That's a great
no,
school.
it's just I keep hearing about other schools, so I don't know.
Well, let's go back. Not back.
I think funding. Yeah, go ahead.
See, one of the things, and you talk about colleges, I will mention that the Union Mount CDC, they sponsor a HBCU college tour over the summer.
Yes.
And this year they're going to Nashville. They're going to visit Fisk and Tennessee State. And then between those two schools is this small but great medical school called Mary Medical College. Okay. So let's go back to Christine.
Are you plugging the Harry? I mean, are you serious?
Well, we'll get to the Harry in a minute. Christine. You mentioned, what else do you do in school? You just go to school and go home, right?
I run track.
You do what now?
All
I
right.
run track.
You run track?
I used to dance early in the school year, but that season ended, so I started doing high step. I started with majorette. Majorette is throughout football season. Then I did high step. High step is throughout basketball season. When I finished, I just decided to run track.
Okay.
So I can keep myself doing something.
Did you run in district races this year?
No.
Didn't run? How many young ladies on the track team?
It's a lot of us, but I will say it's like 30 of us, but you know, some are better than others, so some get to run at districts or nationals or, yeah.
Well, from what I understand, you're one of the better ones.
I feel like I'm in the middle, because there are a lot of girls who's better than me, then there's a lot of girls that I'm faster than, but we have different races, so it depends on what race you run.
What race do you run in?
The 100 meter and 200 meter dash, or a 4x1 or 4x2.
So you're a speedster.
Yeah, she's a speeder.
Do you speed when you drive?
Come on.
Well, my mom said I drive fast, but I don't think I drive fast.
So you're involved in sports. You're involved in engineering. Are you going to be an engineer? Is that something you're interested in becoming?
I've been thinking about it.
Have you looked at colleges?
I have.
Where have you looked?
I mostly looked at North Carolina University. I heard that was good. I heard about Ohio State. I heard it's good, but I know a lot of the seniors from last year who are freshmen are going to sophomore college now. They say they go there, it's good, but they said the vibe, they just don't feel like.
It's a big school.
Yeah.
West Point is also free. If you can plug my hair. West Point is also free, and it is an engineering college, in case you don't know.
And so is the Naval Academy.
Then they, yeah, those are all free for both of you.
When we say that, we're not saying that jokingly, we're saying that seriously.
Yes.
Look at all different alternatives, because
And there's
Laverne.
travel bonuses, everything.
Laverne can speak more towards West Point, I can speak more towards the Naval Academy. Engineering, excellent opportunity.
Yes,
And you get paid while you're in school.
yes,
Everything is paid for. You graduate, you do 4 years.
yes,
You're making excellent money.
yes,
And once you leave, if you decide not to make it a career, okay, once you depart the military, especially as a West Point grad or a Naval Academy grad, not taking anything away from the Air Force Academy,
yes.
you
Bunch of Marines also.
you walk away from those two once your commitment is over, your military commitment, because you leave as an officer. You'd normally leave as an 03, in the Navy be a full lieutenant, in the Army be a captain. People are going to be banging at your door,
Yes,
especially because you can do electrical engineering, nuclear engineering,
and it's free,
and it's free. It's free.
totally free.
Free.
Both schools?
Yes.
All 5 of them are
All
free.
5. That includes the.
And as African American young ladies,
You're not going to be guaranteed to get in, but
You-
chances are better.
yeah.
Chances are better that you.
And
will
you
get
know how to pop a hood and put some brakes on. Come on, girl. I mean, and honestly, your chances are very good. You know, and that's up there with the trades to me. You know, because you can become an engineer and you can become. They have a motor pool you could learn from, but that's not even what you want to do.
I mean, I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. Like, I do it like on the side, like, but I don't know. I wanted to become a teacher, but I just still got time to think. Well, I don't got
See,
that
my
much
thing
time.
is I don't know if, in fact, when you come out of school, to be able to take care of your family, everybody doesn't want to go to college. Everybody isn't prepared to go to college. They aren't. I think that the trades should be a viable alternative to anybody that wants to go and earn a living and make money. My friends that went to Max Hayes made money before any of us did. Everybody that went to Max Hayes was at TRW, they were at all different, and they took care of their families, or they went to Ford. But they didn't go to college. And
That's also what my teacher was talking about. They got a thing with Ford or whatever, and we don't technically have to work on the cars. We can just be there, explain about the details of the car, what kind of engine it got, and things like that. And we actually supposed to be taking a trip to the college I was talking about earlier, and he's also going to have the people at Ford come talk to us this year coming up.
he should. He should.
Just for you, Reggie, there's a school called GMI, General Motors Institute, and it's actually owned and operated by General Motors, and they train. You get full-fledged bachelor's degree in automotive engineering, and I had a couple friends who actually went to GMI, and they graduated and they ended up their whole career was done with General Motors. One of them ended up working in the design area. So these cars that you see today, they were designing back in, let's say, the late 80s, early 90s, okay? And they also, let's say you want to do the engineering thing, you are the one who says, well, no, we can make this a transverse engine,
Yes.
a flathead 6 or whatever in the car, and you make all the components or design the components to drive this vehicle. So and actually today, if I can't remember his name, there's a black guy, a brother in charge of the design at General Motors. Brother. So when people say there's not opportunities for the trade,
It's never been this good.
it's never been this good.
It's never been. And I don't know why it's not being promoted, but it sounds like, well, the trades for engineering, for you, that's a a different scale. But you should not discount the academies, because that's what they do. That's their specialty. But if you're interested in anything close to auto mechanics and auto discovery, you should definitely. There should be people jumping out of trees for this one.
Both of
Both of them. I
actually
mean, these
right
are two
now.
exceptional kind of young ladies.
Because not only you're brilliant
Yeah.
ladies, you really are. And see, you talk about AI. You say AI. A lot of people think Allen Iverson, but what is AI?
Artificial intelligence.
Okay, and you two are on the cusp of
You
that.
are.
See,
There is no way you should have to pay for anything.
right, Laverne and I'm putting Laverne in this because she's 30 minutes apart of birth. one of the things that, see, we were fortunate when
Yes.
the computers came out. We were not old yet, so we learned certain Microsoft applications and laptops and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. You guys grew up with this stuff,
Mhm.
and I don't want to call it stuff, but you grew up with this technology. Now you're getting ready to enter into AI. I care about it. I really don't want to learn it. You know, my next stop is somebody's cemetery or something.
Yeah.
But
It's okay.
you guys are no.
Yes. No, it's true.
The majority of
Both
my life is behind.
It's over. At best, we have 10, 15 years left, 20 years maybe.
I'm banking on Methuselah's age.
Well, you're banking on it. I'm just telling you what, as a public health official, you'll be dying in 20 years.
Okay.
At best.
Thank
And I
you.
will too.
So,
I think the sky's the limit for these ladies. I honestly do. And I think the trades are so important right now. When I went to undergraduate, coming out of John Adams, right? The thing was, my test scores for AP were off the chart. So I had people jumping out of trains and planes and automobiles to come get me because they're like, wait a minute, you swim and you got, so it was different for us. They wanted the best and the brightest. W.E.D. Du Bois, do they learn about that? Did you guys learn about him? The talented 10th?
Mm-hmm.
That was the curriculum agenda back then. But you guys, they want you now more than they've ever wanted. You're talented and you know some things and you are accomplished. Come on. But I don't think that's systemic throughout the public education system, because you do know that less than 50% of you graduate from high school. Do you have any thoughts about that? How come nobody's graduating, or the numbers are down? Just your idea.
No, well I do, but it's like that's their choice. They choose not to graduate from high school.
You don't think the system has anything to do with that? That we aren't the classes aren't being offered?
I think it's the kids.
Christine, what's your?
Yeah.
Because you spoke again. I'm going back about a month when you said they kind of goof off in school.
Mhm.
So why are the kids your peers?
Goofing off.
I don't want to say they're lazy. I just want to say I don't think they know what they want. So they're just out here trying anything. And I feel like they don't graduate because they feel like they want to go and party but I don't think, well, I know my school, I don't think it has anything to do with our classes. I think our classes are good. A lot of people complain, well, a lot of the students complain, but if you really apply yourself, you try, it's not hard. They're telling you the information, you just gotta retain it.
But you see, what happened in this generation or your generation is the public school system is there for everybody. You do know that, right? It's for everybody to graduate and to succeed, right? Well, you have a lot of people that, like you two, they pulled them out of the public school system and placed them in private schools with choice, school choice. So your numbers have diminished in the public school system. And even with those numbers diminishing, there still is a low graduation rate. So you're saying that you believe it's the children?
Yeah.
I kind of do.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back to your kind of do statement. Listen to Body Talk on the No Static Radio Network. We're going to take a 5-minute break and come back with our special guest host, Laverne, and our two special guests, Christine to my left and Reggie to my far right. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
Mike's out. So you actually,
It's not on.
you actually believe it's the children?
Good afternoon. Tell me when you're ready.
It's cool.
Good afternoon and thank you. You're listening and returning to the Body Talk program on No Static Radio Network. And we're having probably one of the most in-depth discussions with my wonderful co-host and semi-guest, Laverne, and two excellent guests. To my left is Christine and to my far right is Regina. We call her Reggie. And as I have always mentioned, some of the best interviews or discussions occur prior to the program, during the break, and or after. And before we departed for the break, we were talking about the discipline, not being from the perspective of being punished, but how do you manage yourself? And these two young ladies were sharing with Laverne and I, they have outstanding personal discipline. Okay? And not trying to get you to tell on your classmates. What level of discipline? You're at a 10. Both of you are at a 10 on the scale of 0 to 5. You're on a level of 10, discipline level, personal wise. Where do you rank your peers, some of the people you go to school with or even in class, on a scale of 0 to 5? Christine?
Okay, my class, we're kind of split up into 4 groups. And we have the boys who like to be on the phone, and the boys that like to skip. Well, by on the phone, they're like, I don't know. But I'm going to say half of our class, their discipline is at like a 7, and the other half I'll say a 3, because they'll just leave school just because.
And Reggie?
It depends. Like some days, but I feel like it's probably 2. Probably 2, yeah.
Is that now?
You know, 10 is the
Oh, I thought it was from
0 to 5. She's
oh, that's not 0 oh,
So 2 is still.
Yeah,
2 is not that good.
Yeah.
So, and I'm gonna turn back over to Laverne in a minute. Where did you acquire this discipline? Was it somebody gave you? You take a vitamin every day? It gives you that personal discipline. Paris, France.
Yes.
We had to walk to the library, pull out index cards. You go to the stacks, that's the books. Today, you don't have to go anywhere. You can just pick up the phone and do certain things. Even you're exposed or have your opportunities are so broad today. When Laverne and I went off to college, there was no such thing as taking courses online. There was no such thing as online.
No.
I'm not a big advocate of it, but you never have to leave Cleveland to obtain a degree from whatever college.
But I don't know if that's a good thing.
It's not. Well, I don't agree with it.
Yeah,
I don't agree
I don't
with
like
that. Okay.
I don't like it either.
No, I don't like that.
I hated online school.
Well,
Yeah.
and trust me, I do too. And Laverne mentioned, did both your sons attend St. Ignatius?
Yes.
Oh,
The
well,
high school?
yeah, it's a high school.
I went to the middle school. The Antioch, St. Ignatius of Antioch.
Oh, the St. Ignatius over on West 25th?
West 25th.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
I thought that
It's
was
a
a
private
high school.
Catholic school.
I only have sons.
Oh well.
Yeah.
It's
So,
all boys school.
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah.
You know, I call it, with all due respect to people who graduate from St. Ignatius, they're Iggy Knights. They are. It's excellent school. It really
It is. It's
Academically, it's college prep. They forget the athletics. You go to St. Ignatius, the majority of the graduates, about 99.9%, go off to college somewhere, and or they go to one of the military academies.
See, I can believe that when we ride past after they get out of school, it's not like many black people there.
I only
It's
see
not.
like 2 because it's like down the street
Yeah.
from my house. I only see
Oh, you look, and you believe it or not, you learn with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Forget being in the classroom.
Yes.
She lives down the street. Don't tell anybody your address. And
At all.
at all, you live somewhere close by, and you see these boys getting out of school, and you see them ties or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, dress shoes.
They be having their own cars. I be seeing the parking lot. I be like, damn.
And I don't want to say that everybody. I know some other individuals my age who attended St. Ignatius graduated. You're seeing something that you're not exposed to in CMSD.
Yeah.
Laverne went to a private school. She graduated from John Adams. And when she graduated, public schools were different.
Yes.
You learned.
Totally. Dress
You
codes,
learn.
everything.
You learn. I'm a graduate of Benedictine. shameless plug. Okay,
See,
and like you
and
pointed out,
Ignatius of the East Side.
when I'm the boys' school, all boys' school on the east side.
Mhm.
See, one of the things, and you said it, you see all these white kids.
Mm-hmm.
When I was at Benedictine, it wasn't a lot of us.
No, that wasn't.
That's how it is at my school. It's not many black kids there. It's more like the Hispanic part,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's not many of us black kids there.
Why do you think that is? When the Cleveland Metropolitan School is 80% black.
Because I don't know. I feel like some of the kids, the black kids, wouldn't want to get into the trades that's at my school. But that's just how I feel. I don't know, like if that's true or not. But yeah, there's not many of us there.
What about
My
Mexico?
school is predominantly black. It's very rare you see anybody like Hispanic, white, and I kind of like it because I think it's motivating because I know what you have to do to get in that school and stay. So I'm like,
Like you mentioned a school in Carolina. No, that was you. Is it HBCU?
no, it's a university.
Okay, University of North Carolina. Okay, Chapel Hill. Have either one of you looked at an HBCU?
Me and my teachers was looking at it when I was in 9th grade. Cause I asked them, I was like, I had my English teacher. I asked her, I was like, cause she's black. Both my English teachers were black, and I didn't have any black teachers for real. And I asked her, I was like, what's good HBCU? And she gave me a list of them. And I was looking at some of them, but I don't think I was in there.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know. The schools wasn't. When I looked at it online, I just didn't. Yeah. I didn't like it.
I didn't go to an H. I went to a private school for college.
Have you looked at considered an HBCU or you?
I've heard of some, but I haven't looked at any. I did go and visit this college in Ohio. It's the Hiram College.
Okay, that's right up the street, kind of, sort of.
Yeah,
Not far from here.
we took a field trip there, and it's pretty nice. It's not a big campus, but it's nice.
Yeah, there's Ohio Wesleyan, there's Ohio Dominican.
It's the Claremont Colleges in California where I graduated from undergraduate.
You graduated in California?
Yeah, see, she went all the way left, meaning California. A young lady who's a graduate of John Adams on a swimming scholarship.
You know how to swim?
You don't know how to swim?
You know
I do, but like I don't know how to swim. I know how to swim enough to just, but I'm not swim to like do it as a sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Woodland Rec. The recreation centers used to teach us how to swim.
Yeah, we used to go to Fairfax. We used to go to Fairfax on Friday.
You went to Fairfax? Yeah,
We
swim
sure
night
did
on
that.
Friday night at the rec centers.
Yeah, that's how we learned how to swim. And I'm not making fun of kids. Kids that I don't want to go swimming because I mess my hair up. I said, really?
That's how I used to be. I got a swim cap and
But you know what? There's so many opportunities for you young ladies. Claremont colleges, they're the Ivy League colleges of the West Coast. They recruit African American. There is a college that wants you
Somewhere.
and there's a grant. Do they still have the grant library at the Cleveland Foundation?
That I'm not
I don't know.
sure of. I'm not sure of. They still have.
My son got $5,000 for being left-handed at the grant library. Are you left?
Yes, I'm a left.
Oh God.
I use the right side of my brain.
So there are colleges all over the country. Don't limit yourself to just Ohio. That would be such a. I went and didn't come back to Cleveland until I was. But I left and went to California, New York.
I visited colleges in New York, but I can't just leave my family. I can't leave my mama with my sisters like that. Like, yeah.
You're not leaving them. You're just going to school.
Exactly. But okay, you got a point.
Well, you're just going to school. And you're going to bring back all those experiences. My kid was 16, and I sent him on with a backpack and some dollars, and he toured Spain the whole summer.
that's
And he was 16.
Are you gonna be
Oh
able to
yeah,
go?
that's what they did at John.
He's 16. I went to Africa with Alexander Hamilton when I was 12 or something. No, the Cleveland Public Schools used to there was opportunities for you to go. And I spent 3 months in Africa.
That's what they had. My freshman year, they had a program. For during summer school, college now came to my school and we took a trip to New York. I don't know if they did it this year because I didn't go to summer school this year. We took a trip to New York and we toured colleges, and we also had fun while we was out there. But the colleges iffy out there.
I'm just going to suggest this to you. You go where the opportunities exist.
And there's so many opportunities.
And the world is limitless for the both of you.
Yes.
Much more so than when Laverne and I were in school. Now, I saw both of you. You went to school in California, meaning that's what Laverne said. And she talked about her son off to Spain at 16. She sent her a backpack, and that's when they moved. Bye. See, one of the things that that kids are missing today, you can always come back home.
Yes.
You can always come back home. Now, Laverne is not going to tell you that she spent a significant time living overseas.
Most of my adult life, yes.
Lived overseas.
I lived in Romania, I lived in Saudi Arabia, Italy.
Are you bilingual?
No, I lived, you know what, my husband had embassy duties, he worked for the Department of Defense. So in the embassy, do you know it's like a little America? That's what I'm saying, you wouldn't miss it. We have 4th of July celebrations, everything they have here in the States, except you wouldn't have your mama, but you could bring her over there with you. You know, and you want to travel because you want to see it all. You want to see the different cultures. I know that as a woman I'm treated differently in Muslim countries. But I don't remind that because that's the respect for their culture. You know, you just hear a lot of things here, but you guys, oh my God, I would recruit you today for West Point. I would. And that you travel all, my children are bilingual, but they went to school there when they were, you know, like little guys. They went to school in Europe.
There's a young lady, I'm not going to mention her name because I don't have permission. After she graduated from college, she went to work for MasterCard.
Ooh.
And she was stationed, her first job was in Japan.
Yes.
And she stayed over there for quite a while. And she rose to running the second and third person in charge of the MasterCard Asian division. And she just came back to the States.
MasterCard is just a logo.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
And she's now living in California, close to Palo Alto, which is Stanford University. See, one of the things that I'm suggesting, and I think Laverne is too, don't limit yourself.
At all.
Go where the opportunities exist. Take the positions, quote unquote, job wise, because you might graduate when you graduate from high school and or college. There might not be that specific opportunity for you in Cleveland, Ohio, but it might exist in St. Louis, Missouri, Chicago, Illinois, Nashville, Miami, or wherever. And there's this thing called trains, planes, and buses.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be making enough money so you can fly your mother, siblings, whatever out to come see you. And your friends, you know, Laverne and I like to travel, so you might even pay.
I mean, my favorite place in the world is Bucharest, Romania. That's, if I were to retire, that's where I'd go. Romania. Quick.
I say I'm an Italy guy. I enjoy Spain and Italy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you haven't seen it, so you don't know, and your mom would love to come visit you. And your parents would love, you would love it. But you have to go see it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why I'm still befuddled by this low graduation rate. You guys think it's the kids that's doing this. So it has to be the parents then.
Yeah.
That are not training the kids. And I'm not talking about you parents because I know it's hard to be one. It has to be something else.
Yeah, and you know, and I do agree with you, Laverne, because all rearing starts at home.
It does.
And
it doesn't start in high school.
No,
it starts in kindergarten.
It starts at home. When you two were taken to kindergarten, you knew certain things.
Yeah.
You knew how to count to 200 or 1,000. You knew your colors. You knew how to tie your Velcro shoes. And whatever else existed. And that was how we were raised. You see, discipline doesn't mean putting your hands on somebody. Discipline means you're going to do this. And most children like discipline because they recognize mommy, daddy, or whoever loves me because they're making me
Alice,
do
I've got to
this.
stop you. we were disciplined in school, and you know.
Well, but I mean, not from the
We
standpoint.
were hit in school.
Well, I was a good kid.
I got rulers across my hands all the time. We were hit by and you in high school? No, they had justice under God at Ignatius where they would hit us. They would hit us. I don't know if that's the right way, but we got hit.
Well,
we
when
knew
I say,
better.
I'm not talking about just in school. I'm talking about the discipline at home.
I got hit
and
at
I'm
home
not
too.
saying definitely don't spare the rod.
Exactly.
Okay. Because
exactly.
you learn that, well, I have to follow directions and the rules. And I'm just saying that discipline extends beyond somebody paddling you.
Exactly. Exactly.
See, when a parent tells the child to be home at 9, I don't care if you come home at 8, but you're not walking in that door at 9:05.
Yes, there's consequences.
There's consequences to it. And see, when you make a decision as a child or even as more so as an adult, every decision has 1 or 2 consequences. It's going to be a good one or a bad one. You 2 young ladies accepted this internship, so you come here at X time and you leave at a time, at a certain time. That's discipline. And certain other levels of discipline, you have to learn how to function or work certain pieces of the board here, all right? And as I mentioned during the break, see, one of the things that, kids use this to communicate with. And that's okay. But really, one of the things that you really, truly want this to do, your phone book should be growing. Just not with people you go to school. It's, well, not in a sense of using somebody. If you don't keep in touch with Miss Laverne over here, you missed an opportunity. You really did. Because you might go off to Ohio State or UNC and say, well, they keep talking about this ROTC thing. And you could call her and talk, and let's say it's Army ROTC. You could talk to her about that. Or you graduate and say, well, I got my commission. What should I go? Where should I do? What should I specialize in? Again, making an Army. She knows. She knows that. You might decide as an engineer, well, I'm really doing this thing now, but I'm interested in the medical thing. You can call me. I was associate dean at Meharry. But if you don't want to call me, that's okay. There's no, my Obama minutes are limited. But you take advantage of the people you meet along the way. And those are things that I think you 2 young ladies, and I'm going to mention another student here real quick, that you don't, this isn't a toy, this is a tool, and learn how to use the tool. There's another young lady here who's actually producing the show today, and I hope all of you have each other's numbers, and that there's 2 actually doing it. The young lady at the main board, she graduated this year. She's on a full ride to John Carroll University.
Oh, wow.
A full ride.
It's a Catholic college, and I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
I donate to John Carroll.
She doesn't pay anything. If she needs a pencil, they get it for her. Now you might say, well, I don't, and I'm not making fun of you. I miss my mom, I want to come back home. Call her. She might be able to help you get in John Carroll. There's another young lady back here. She goes to a private school, okay, and Catholic school, way out there in Westlake. Nobody knows what Westlake is. I'm not saying you 2 have not been out there. Talk to her.
Is that Magnificat? No?
Yeah.
You go to Magnificat? Yeah.
Yeah, she goes, talk to her. And see, one of the things that you have an advantage that we didn't have this thing. If I wanted to talk to Laverne, I had to wait my turn to use the phone hanging on the kitchen wall.
I think more importantly, they should be joining things like LinkedIn. They should start networking with people that are interesting to them and put it out there that this is what I want to do. I mean, the biggest thing that I had going for me when I was going to undergraduate was everybody wanted to help. I mean, my entire community came together and donated money because they just wanted me to have some money in my pocket when I got to California, because they too thought it was a long way away, right? But I think you need to start making sure that you are out there and you are making sure people know you exist.
Are you both, do you know what LinkedIn is?
No.
It's an app. I be hearing about it.
Well, see, now again, I think both of you are very brilliant. Everybody in the room is super smart. if somebody says something and you don't know, what should you say? Could you explain to me explain what that is?
It's a social media network for business and professionals. Okay, but once you put your profile up there, you tell people who you want to meet. You know, it's at certain levels, but at your level, I think it would be the best thing. You know, when a lot of people that come out of undergraduate, you're meeting people in your social network group. You know, and I think you know, because some young people call me and say, hey, could you come and talk with us? And it makes sense. And a lot of the West Pointers are on there. And if you join one person, then you become part of their entire network.
He or she might be associated with 100 or 1,000.
Right.
So now you have 1,001.
Yes.
Those 1,001 keep growing.
That one person got you connected with 1,000 people.
And that one person, one of those 1,001 people, might say, I followed you and you're just getting ready to graduate from UNC, you're getting ready to graduate from Ohio State, and we're looking for an entry-level, more so entry-level engineer or whatever.
Or I'm looking for an internship that's paid.
That's paid, and boom, you're connected.
Yes. And they will call you.
They will call.
Because I do. I use it all the time. When I hired my person for the summer, you know, she's out of Baldwin Wallace. You know, but she was like, I'm looking for a job, and I'm a girl Friday. And I was like, she talked my language. I was like, all right, let's do this. You know? But you need to get on LinkedIn. Look it up and become a part of that. And you're welcome to become my friend. I'll accept you. As long as you tell me that I met you here. You know? And you're on LinkedIn.
Yes. So one of the things, and I'm retired now. I'm in between jobs. I'm just retired.
I want to explore more about this whole thing, why we have a failing school system, and you guys seem to think it's the children. I want to explore that more. I really do. Because that's befuddling me.
Well, before we sign off here, I would like to thank Christine to my left, Reggie to the far right. And if you want a break job, please call me. I'm her agent. If you need something designed,
my goal.
Christine, and of course the wonderful Laverne Gore here, Jones Gore. See, one of the things that we didn't have a chance to get into, it's not your Christine or Reggie's fault. See, Laverne is going to develop this trades program, just not for students, but for young adults. And I'm not going to mention the businesses she's reached out to actually help coordinate this, and she'll announce when the big kickoff is.
But I'm frightened, you know, that I won't be able to include young people if this is, you know, that was where the focus was. I mean, high school students, that's where I wanted to implement part of it. And I'm always honest with myself. If you think it's a discipline problem, you go there. That's interesting.
Well, and your concerns are valid. And I'll put you in touch with somebody who actually was one of the more successful runner of the trades program, seeing as the
I would like to know that, yeah.
I'll give you her contact information. But more so speaking to the parents out here, the young listeners, the high school students, motivate and encourage your children.
Yes.
They can be anything they want to be as long as they put their mind to it, as long as they have the discipline to sacrifice and be determined to do what they want to do. Again, I would like to thank Christine, Reggie, and Laverne for joining
You're very
us
welcome.
on Body Talk. And again, if you have an opportunity, I don't care if it's a cupcake or a cracker. We didn't talk about domestic violence today. I usually do a read, but that's important. But more so going back to the cupcake or a cracker, just for a moment, always remember that this would have been Emmett Till's 92nd birthday today. And I would like to thank everybody for listening and watching Body Talk, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.